Very good. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for the nice introduction. And it's really a pleasure to be here in this room. It's my first time. It's a very impressive room, and I'm sure very impressive people. But really a pleasure to be here with all of you this afternoon. And I'll try not to be very long. I think that sometimes politicians, they talk for long, and I'm not like that. I really like to actually to be straight to the message. And so really, I think that life has changed so much, isn't it? I mean, when you think about it, now really, and life starts at 70, you know? I mean, you have an extra 30 years or more really to your life expectancy. And Jane Fonda, which apart from being a great actress, she has been doing a lot about this subject, and she says that actually it's like kind of the third act of life, and I agree with that. And really, life expectancy is in the EU member states increasing by over 5 years between 1919 and 2012. And if you look at countries like Spain, for instance, you see that in Spain, really, which is the member state with the highest life expectancy, there are where you see that the average citizen can expect to reach actually their 82nd birthday. So that gives me a lot of hope personally. But really, when you think about it, when you think about your life, your parents, your grandparents, what you see is that life has changed for the reasons we all know. We got better standard of living, hygiene, health care, among many other reasons, and that's why we are enjoying a life that is much longer. And with such swiftly changing of demographics, it's safe to say that many of us actually old age won't be what we imagine watching our grandparents when they retired. You know, I remember my grandmother at the age of 50, she was already saying that she was too old, you know. And that's something that in the 70s and the 80s was normal. I mean, I see myself in 20, 30, 40 years actually in a totally different way. Probably with my iPad, looking at photos on my device, looking in a digital world. So really, the life that we will have will be so different from the ones before. And that's where it's so important here in this conference, because you are actually dealing with the point that I think is the future of science, which is this merge in between the physical and the digital world. You know, a great scientist in the MIT called Karl Ratti has been looking at really how things have changed. And in the 90s, there was a lot of scholars that would say simply that the physical world somehow will disappear. Some of them actually said at the time that the cities, as we know it, will at some point die. And finally, what we see is that the physical world is there, will be there, but we have also the digital world getting together with the physical world, and I think that's a big change for all of us. So really, the old age is not what it used to be, and it will not be what we expected. Actually, Trotsky, the revolutionary, once said that old age is the most unexpected of things that can happen to a man. But aging populations are something that governments, health organizations, and civil society are definitely expecting. The investment in research, science, and innovation that we make now will define the kind of care and opportunities we afford ourselves in generations to come. And the point here is that we have to look at policy in a very different way that we have looked from the past. Because we have to focus on output and not on input. Because we have to look at results and sometimes not to look at investment. And that's a very difficult thing for politicians and for policymakers. Because it's much easier actually to measure the inputs The inputs are clear. How much am I spending? What am I doing? Many resources do I have? But then, the important thing for the life of people is actually not that, is the output of what you're doing. And that's really a challenge for the next 5 years, is what's the output of what we're doing. And so the European Union has invested over 526 million euros, which is, as I was saying, an input. But what are the results? And we have established really great projects that I'd like to acknowledge, from markers of cellular senescence to epigenetic and longevity determination and therapeutic approaches to age-specific pathologies, to name a few. Then we have invested more than 650 million euros in research of neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer. And unlike the framework program that preceded it, I think Horizon 2020 supports actions from basic and clinical research to market deployment. And here I wanted to make a crucial point. I've been meeting a lot of people these past couple of months. And I've been asking around to entrepreneurs, to business people, why sometimes really we invest and then they have the ideas, but they are not able to put it in place in Europe. And I met the other day a Swiss-French entrepreneur that told me that he had a great idea here in Europe, and then he was not able even to create a pilot in Europe. He had to go to the US in his case, and then he wanted to go to the market. And so this journey in between the idea to the market, it's crucial. We cannot lose that, and you have to be actually really in your field very, very, very careful when you look at the ways that you'll be able to go to the market. And so Horizon 2020, that is much more bottom-up, is about that. It's about how can you look at a challenge, and with that challenge, find a solution, and that's something that I think it's really important for Europe. So a vision that we have that really welcomes new opportunities in innovation in the field of active aging and healthy aging. A vision for the future that is both really, I would say, intriguing because it's totally new and exciting. In every EU member state, the share of the population that is aged 65 and over is increasing. And actually, this presents us with a ready-made emerging market for social entrepreneurship and innovation. A sound case for developing cheaper, more efficient, personalized approaches to healthcare. And a growing customer base for tailored goods and services. And when technology is called for, the primary goal should be actually to ensure that dignity and quality of care is accessible and affordable to every individual. You know, sometimes people ask me, what do I think innovation is? And I always quote Professor Clayton Christensen from Harvard Business School. There is actually 3 types of innovation. One type is sustaining innovation. Is then when you actually have a product that substitutes another product that existed before. That does not create jobs. It's important. It's a very important type of innovation. Then you have efficiency innovation, when you actually want to do more for less, which is basically getting more efficient. That's what we do in our lives every day. But then there's a different type of innovation, which is market-creating innovation, which is an innovation that actually creates a new market, new, actually, ideas that get people that were not in that market to belong. When we went from the fixed line to the mobile line in the cell phones, that's really the kind of market-creating innovation. So that innovation is normally more affordable, is more accessible, and is simpler. And that's what we're talking about. It's actually really what we have to care. To have to care that we create innovation that is accessible and affordable to every individual. European health startups are already pioneering a whole new range of solutions for elderly care. One example is NurseBuddy, that was developed by a Finnish company in 2013. NurseBuddy was actually selected as one of the 8 most promising healthcare startups worldwide. In homes where more than one relative or carer look after an elderly family member, NurseBuddy software helps to coordinate care and improve communication between everyone involved. Such innovations and business ideas are what we need more of. By 2025, more than 20% of Europeans will be 65 or over, with a particularly rapid increase in the number of over 80 years old. Greater life expectancy is absolutely something to celebrate, let's be clear. But if Europeans are living longer, that also means that we are at an increased risk of physical, sensory, and mental diseases. Old age is not an affliction. It is a joyful part of life. But our eyes must be open to the vulnerabilities more of our population and that population will face. There is a great need for continued research and innovation to improve health and well-being in old age, and to ensure public services are prepared for this generational shift. Indeed, healthy aging is far too big an objective to be met by any one part of a society alone. It is certainly significant to each and every part of society. Healthy aging requires the involvement and commitment of countries, regions, local authorities, health services, entrepreneurs, civil society, businesses, families, and elderly themselves. At the Euro level, we are making every effort to mobilize as many stakeholders as possible, in particular through research partnerships. And one of these partnerships is the Innovative Medicines Initiative, which pioneered an entirely new scale of public-private partnerships between the European Commission and the pharmaceutical industry. Over 5 billion euros of investment have gone into the Innovative Medicines Initiatives, IMI-1 and IMI-2, as the European Commission sharing costs with the industry. So, engaging the private sector, engaging pharmaceutical companies on health issues is very important for the European society. The Joint Programming Initiative on Neurodegenerative Diseases is another strategic partnership. Joint programming initiatives are created to align the national research agendas with societal challenges to make the best use of public money. That's what we're talking about, is how can we engage really the private sector with the public money to get results, results, results. We are making headway through a number of initiatives and through the hard work of countless dedicated individuals. Allow me to take this opportunity to congratulate you on the work conducted by the European Innovation Partnership on Active, Healthy Aging. You were the first of 5 European innovation partnerships to be set up under the previous Commission's Innovation Union flagship initiative, and I'm glad for that. As the turnout here today testifies, you have taken important steps in mobilizing many actors, bringing together the demand and supply side of innovation to ensure the solutions actually that are being developed can be applied in practice and meet market demand, turning knowledge into value while delivering better public services to citizens. For all the European innovation partnerships, the World Partnership is actually the essence. It's the partnership around the public and the private. So allow me to quote Henry Ford, certainly a great innovator of his time. He said, "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success." I wish the EIP Active and Healthy Aging a success in your vital work. And it's really important that you are able to point to significant real-world impacts of your activity to the value of the EIP model. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a great pleasure. I wish you an excellent summit, and I really look forward to hearing further conclusions that will be very important for me, because this is one of my priorities for the next 5 years. So thank you so much.